it's me, Renee. I'm back. And so in June, it was Tar, the Amazing Readathon. So I'm here doing a Tar wrap up. As usual, I'm not really going to talk about all the books because I read quite a lot of books in June. I mean, you kind of had to. You had to. Like the point was to read at least 10 books, and then you can do some tight sightseeing. I had just planned to kind of write down the legs I did. Legs, like each kind of each main book was one leg. And then after a while I kind of remembered I don't remember all the books I did for legs. But yeah, I didn't know I finished all 10 legs. And also I'm just gonna do the usual me where I just talk in general about the readathon. Like starting with the first leg book. I don't know. I mean, some people did like weekly vlogs, which I mean, then they would have done that. I didn't do it, so yeah. I have, I did do some updates, so maybe I talked about first leg and second leg, so forth. I suppose, yeah, maybe this is gonna be mainly I talk about the last few books. I don't know. As usual, I am chaotic. I don't have a system for things. I just talk and do. But yeah, in general, so this was my first time doing Tau, the Amazing Readathon. It also happened last year. I'm not sure if it happened the year before last year, but anyway, it happened last year. I didn't participate last year, but I did this year. I joined Discord because of it, because you needed Discord. So yeah, and that was kind of fun to like be in a Discord chat. Some people felt like the chat was a bit chaotic, which I suppose it could be, but like when you have a readathon that has like I think it was like 1,500 people who did it. I think Bree said like there was around that many people who did it. So yeah, that's gonna be a lot of people. So if you're either gonna be in the general group chat or if you're gonna be in your team group chat, there's a lot of people there, and then people also joined throughout the month, so you probably had maybe 2,000 in the end, at least a lot of people. And also, I was on Team Fantasy, which was the biggest team, so there was always things happening in the group chat. Well, I kind of liked it. I suppose some people feel like it could be chaotic and like a lot of things happening, but I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like it was too much. I felt like it was enough. I didn't. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too little. I enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, did every time when I woke up, a lot of things happen in chat. Yeah, but like when a chat is that big, it's just you can't stay on top of the chat. That's impossible. You have to read the latest chat things, and if someone talked about something that happened a long time ago in chat, ask them what was they referring to. So yeah, sorry. So yeah, so I enjoy the chat. I enjoy Discord. The rumblings and talks on Discord. It was a nice community for us book lovers. It was kind of fun to like do it on that place and not do it on because I am on Bookstgram, I am on YouTube, but it's kind of fun to do it on Discord and like see how that worked out. I did enjoy that part of it. I did also like the prompts. I am a mood reader, so it's a bit like, oh, okay, I have to read a book for this specific thing. And it was like, I mean, normally you can be in the mood reader and do readathons, but like with this readathon, you had to read a specific book that specific day, or like, yeah, I suppose you could read sightseeing book, but like the main point was like to do the main books. Like the sightseeing was if you had time and if you wanted to. The main point was the main books. So yeah. But then again, I mean, if you had trouble with like finding a book, you could always ask in the general chat or like look at what other people read. Also, I didn't do any. Well, I did a bit of this, but I didn't do a lot of this. But like, you could actually do a lot of reading if you wanted to, and then if you want to reread stuff, that's probably easy to know like which books fit and like rereads are often easier to start and then pick up and finish soon and whatnot. So yeah, I did in general very much enjoy the readathon. I did make it through all 10 legs, and I also because some people kind of had like too much to do, they couldn't do all 10 legs and they were behind and whatnot. I was behind at some points, but like then Like sometimes I was still on leg 9 when like leg 10 dropped. I was like at the end of leg 9 books. Like I didn't lose a lot of time. Well, I lost time, but yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, and I also ended up doing some sightseeing. So yeah, I read all 10 leg books, and I did end up doing like 12 or I have the sightseeing books here. 1 to 3, or at least the prompts. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I did 12 sightseeing books, which I would say, yeah, not too bad at that. I am quite happy with that, managing 12 of those. Quite fun. So yeah, and like all in all, I end up. Well, yeah, and that's also that was also like, and that's also what's it called? Except, so I'm not really talking about the Face Off books. I also did quite a lot. I read 7 books during Face Off. So all in all, in June, I think probably end up being doing 45 books around that, because then was 12 to 22, and then oh yeah, 30 books. Maths, I don't know, around there. So that's quite fun. I end up I end up deciding to push up my reading goal because I had read so much in June. I was like, I'm gonna be like finishing it soon. I suppose if you towards your reading goal as in June, you could, I suppose, you don't have to like always push it. You could just go to it, and then the rest of have the rest of the year you could just have bonuses, like be 1 or 2, or like how many books you are ahead of your goal or like plus of your goal. But it's like I kind of thought, I know I'm gonna be reading a lot in during the latter half of the year, so why not push it up? So now my current reading goal is at 160 books, I believe. I think it's around there. You know what? I'm gonna double check what the current goal is. First, I did 105, and then I did 110, and now I'm something else. I'm at yeah, okay, yeah, 152 books. So I'm yeah. So and I'm at current. I am at 93 books I've read. And there are a few Norwegian books that I didn't, because it's Storygraph I'm using, so it's not. So pretty sure I'm actually more like at 96 books. I think it's 3 or some of those. So yeah. So yeah, in regards to that, I quite enjoyed the Amazing Readathon. It was fun to be there, and also I discovered like some nice people to check out through on BookTube, like through the chat and whatnot. So that's fun. So yeah, on to the books, or at least some of the books. I have not double checked, so I suppose I might have talked about some of these before. If I have, oh well, boo-hoo for you. I'm going to talk about it myself again. But I did read The Epic Crush of Ginny Lowe by F.C.E. This was a book I've had on my TBR for a while, and that's also something I very much enjoyed during the June makes me read. I end up picking up books that I have thought about doing for a long time and haven't picked up. So yeah, kind of fun to like to check out books that's just been procrastinating on my bookshelves. And this has been on my bookshelf for I think 2 years now. So yeah, it's a YA paranormal YA fantasy. What's the difference again between urban and paranormal? It's around the same thing. It's around the same deal. I feel like. But anyway, okay. So this is set in modern day US, modern day LA. I feel like, or LA, like outside LA, around LA, where the main character, Jeannie Lowe, discovers that she's reincarnated from Chinese myth. So it's yeah, it has that element to it. And then there's this new guy who started school, and he's also a reincarnated dude for Train Smith. I'm not gonna say what because it's kind of fun to like figure it out. Um, but yeah, it's a very fun book, funny book. It's different from a lot of things that I have read in the same vein, and also it's I suppose I feel like mostly because it's a YA book, like the main character is 16. But I feel like lots of YA books that has like mythology based around them are most often like Greek mythology. They're often like very romance focused. So romance in here, I would say it's much more character focused, and I quite enjoy that. It was quite fun. It kind of felt like a Rick Riordan book, but then for young adult readers. So like it had that feel to it, but yeah, for those readers, and I enjoy that. And yeah, also it's the first in a duology, so definitely gonna check out the second book soon. This one came out in 2016, 2017. So I believe the second book is probably easy to find used. Maybe it's still in print. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I'm gonna find it and devour it as well. Then I read sorry. Sorry. Then I read The Sorcerer's Secrets by Scott Mebus. This is the third in this trilogy, which is the Gods of Manhattan trilogy. So it's a middle grade series, middle grade with gods. Instead of the gods being Roman or um, Roman or Persian or Greek or Norse. No, in this universe, the gods are historical people. So Alexander Hamilton is a god, and then you have Walt Whitman is a god. So it's just quite fun to like have that twist on the godlike universe and idea of it all. So it's kind of like it gives you talk about like historical events. Talk about it gives you an introduction into historical events in the U.S. like around when like the early U.S. time and like when, but also before the U.S. was colonized and yeah, U.S. history. It's very much there. It's called Guns in Manhattan, so it's very much UK, very much New York based, but yeah, it's a delightful read. It's a bit sad because it's the last book in the series, so now it's over. But yeah, no, it's reread it. And I found the first book randomly in the library, so I just kind of love how you find books sometimes randomly in the library. And I don't own the first book, so I'm gonna have to check out and find the first book in series. I own the last two books, and yeah, highly recommend this book. Then I read The Stardust Thief, which I've had on my TBR for like a while. I've been on like wanting to read it for a while, and then I end up buying it this April because World Book Day in April. At least for a lot of people, it's in April. And yeah, so this I enjoyed. At times, it felt a bit like it was a bit violent at times for me, but still, I like the setting of like has this Arabic setting. It has kind of rich world building. I like the characters in it, and yeah, I did enjoy it quite a lot. It's the first in that trilogy. I know the second book is coming out next year. And I believe it's a trilogy. It might be a duology series. I know at least there's at least one more book coming out. And yeah, I did enjoy it. I I can't say it's a new favorite book because like when I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk about the Tar books, I thought, oh yeah, this book. I did enjoy it. At times I don't quite remember what I didn't enjoy about it. Yeah, like at times it was kind of like very like a bit like too much for me. So many characters, so much to, and yeah, there's a lot of twists. I feel like twist is fun in a book, but you don't really need twist every other page. So at least for me, sometimes that gets a bit too twisty. You have to live a bit in that plot twist before you get a new one. And yeah, I suppose been kind of thinking of maybe I'm gonna give this to charity, but I think I might also I want to read the series more, but I'm not sure I want to own it. But yeah, anywho, yes. Then I read Like a Charm by Elle McNichol, a middle grade book. It's kind of fun to pick up some middle grade books now and then because yeah, it's quicker to read and whatnot. This is by Elle McNichol, who also wrote A Kind of Spark. both middle grade books. This is about middle grade girl with autism. This is about middle grade girl with dyspraxia, which, in case you don't know what it is, it's kind of like dyslexia in a way that starts with this, but yeah, it's more about your hands and that it's kind of not that easy to use your hands all the time, and also you're on a spectrum, so people are difficult. Uh, but you can read fine. It's just the hands, that, like the motoric in your body, that's more difficult. And also, this is middle grade fantasy story where like you have lots of different. It's one of those stories where everything is real. You have vampires, werewolves, fae. You have sirens, all of it, and it's just I love books where like all the things are real, not just like honestly. I'm kind of mad sometimes when you read a book. It's like, oh, vampires real. Oh, so a ghost real then? And like, ha ha ha, no, ghosts aren't real. Like, why would ghosts be not real? Vampires would be. I mean, one thing isn't more logical than the other, really. At least not to me. But yeah, I very much enjoy that. It's very much, I feel like, a book about being an outcast, a book about being the underdog, and but also finding the truth and finding finding your own place in the world. And yeah, it's the first in a duology, I want to say. So yeah. Also, it's set in Edinburgh, so it's kind of fun to read books up there. And then I read, sorry, Soul of Stars by Ashley Poston. So this is the second in this series. The first one being Heart of Iron, and now a bookmark fell. I don't know. So I love this universe, this whole shebang. I read the first book years ago, and then I've had this on my TBR for a little while. I haven't picked it up because it's sci-fi, and I enjoy sci-fi. With me, sci-fi is better to watch than to read because it often gets a bit like complicated. Like I feel like there's a lot of rules, a lot of rules, a lot of things to remember and whatnot. I feel like fantasy is more like boom, it happens. But sci-fi is more like because of this and this and this, this and this and this will happen. And it's kind of more difficult to keep up. At least for me, it is. But yeah, so this is, and I kind of thought maybe reading it, I kind of thought maybe I should have reread the first book first. I didn't. Also kind of curious because sometimes in the beginning of sequels you have like a start where you have like this happened in the last book or remember this is important, and sometimes you have like characters that are important and whatnot. You didn't have that in this book. I'm kind of curious why you have it some books and some books you don't. Is it the publisher? Is the author who decides? I don't know, but curious. Anywho, I very much enjoyed this book. Like it was a bit difficult to get into it, but when I got into the plot and like when it started to really plot, the plot started plotting. Plot started to plot. Yeah, you get like when it started to really the pacing took up. I loved it so much. At the end, it was kind of like, what? You have that twist at the very end? But then it was kind of fixed at like the last few pages. But I was kind of like, why would you do that? But yeah, I still very much enjoy it and very much thinking I'll probably do like a weekend or something where I do both books back to back and kind of see how that works. Like I feel like sometimes if you read a series back to back, it's kind of it gives a different vibe because you go straight from the first book to the second book to the first book, or like you go into the book in series and then you go out of it. And then you do the whole thing over the same. Like you don't have to wait. Like you don't forget things because you just finished the first book. So yeah. And then I want to do this one. I also ended up rereading Nemi Goromelis. So Nemi is a Norwegian comic or comic book. You might have seen her around. She's available in Spanish, German, I think a lot of languages. Russian, I don't know, but a lot of languages. She's also available in English. You can Google her and probably just Google Nemi English and you'll find her. I know she has been, I think there's been at least 2 books, maybe 1 book with her in English. And I know that the comics is printed in London in the kind of Metro paper, and it's also been available in US and whatnot. Myself, I love Nemi. She started Nemi started. It was a comic that came out between 2000 and like 2022, 802. So it went on for a long time. There's been like 2 or 3 books like this. This is a collection of the stories between 2003 to 2004. So kind of flashback. We talked about series and Return of the King and kind of those vibes to it. But also quite a lot of things in here is kind of still relevant for today. Like some things are timeless. And it's been a while since I read Nemi, so it's kind of fun to like go back into this world. So I very much enjoyed this reread. I loved it so much. Sorry. Then I picked up Sea Sparrow by Kirsten Cashore. This is the fifth. Sorry, I'm gonna check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, sorry. Is it true? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, yeah, fifth. It's the fifth. I can't count. Have to double check all the time. But yeah, fifth in the Graceling series universe. No, Graceling companion. I won't say because it's companion series. These last two, these last 2 books are more. These last 3, no, these last 2 books are more intertwined. But I would still say that actually, I would say all 5 books can be read independently. You don't have to read them like in order or whatnot. You can just pick up one of them and finish that, and you don't have to read them all. It's not like a specific. It's not a continued series, but it's in the same universe. So I suppose you get more out of it if you read them all of them, but you don't have to. This one is 600 pages, so quite a feat, really. That was for some people, for me at least. I don't read a lot of heavy, thick books, tomes like this. I don't. I read shorter reads. But yeah, I very much enjoyed being back into this world. It was a great read. A lot of it took place on a ship, which was kind of fun. You have like you have a picture of the ship here. So that's quite fun, and yeah, a lot of things happening here, which kind of made sense for the whole world, but also made sense for the characters. And yeah, and again, I kind of feel like Kristen Cashore, the author, could write another book. I feel like also she doesn't have to. Like, I feel like honestly, I feel like all her books doesn't need to write more. But if she does, it's cool. It's like all of them can be read independently, and she doesn't have to write more. But if she writes more, because I mean, the world she has created is just so grand, and like sometimes she kind of just makes up new countries that I wasn't talked about in the other books. So like, if she wants to have completely new characters but the same universe, make up a new country. He says that really. And so I'm kind of curious if there'll be more or not. I know that the book that she's writing, no, the book that's coming out this year is not in this universe. I know she's writing a new book, but I don't know if that is in this universe. I do know that this universe has a lot of fans, me included. So like, I will be here if there's more books in the series. Definitely do. And also, still quite hope that we'll get an adaptation of this universe because it would be so fun to see as a TV series or as a movie. So maybe kind of the fun TV series. It could be both, but yeah. Anywho, yes. And that's kind of more or less, I suppose, my Tar wrap up. Some of the books I read more books also. I ended up doing like, I think I did like half, maybe more than half from the library. So, and I planned for Tar was kind of like to try to read books that I owned because I kind of want to, read more of the ones I own. But yeah, I did not do a lot of those books I own. I did get to some of them. I did also get to some books I own, and then I end up giving away to charity because the books I'm not gonna read again. So yeah, if I don't enjoy a book, if I don't love a book, I'm gonna give it away. That's how I do it. So yeah, and all in all, I very much had a good time doing Tar. And I think I'm gonna do it again next year. I enjoyed my experience with it. And thank you, Bree. Thank you for all the producers, for all the thanks for all the for thanks to the team leaders, Cassidy and sorry, I'm forgetting the other name of the team leader. I'm gonna link them both, and yeah, and I'll see you soon. Bye.